Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing really well. So here we are kicking off May with another book haul, and this one is fairly sizable. Everything is vintage, and Matthew and I have been doing a lot of book hunting, kind of, you know, each sort of week we'll go out and grab 1 or 2 or 10. So the thrift stores have been really giving lately, and there's actually some grails in this haul today. I was so super excited to find some of these books. I have others that are new series that I'll be starting to collect, ones that I've never heard before. Some of them sound really good. Some of them are like from the UK, so they're not well known here. So Matthew and I have had a lot of fun out book hunting lately. The weather's been super nice, and I have over 90 books to share with you today. So we're going to be going through these fairly quickly. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of the synopsis or anything like that, but I hope you guys are excited as I am. And of course, it's not just spooky books. So this is going to be children, middle grade YA, and adult, both spooky and non-spooky books. So I will try to insert some timestamps in here if you wanted to just tune in for certain sections. So just a disclaimer, if you hear some bumping or banging going on in the background, it's because my husband is outside in our backyard chopping wood, and sometimes you'll hear a thunk or whatever. So he got a really good deal from someone here locally who was charging next to nothing for stumps and sections of wood. So he's been chopping that over the past couple of weeks, getting ready for winter. We did install a wood stove this past fall, and it's surprising how much wood you go through. So that's it for that cozy little book haul for today, for Sunday. I don't have any makeup on, cozy dress. Let's get to this and I'll show you what I got. So starting off with the children / middle grade section of this haul, Matthew and I typically go to our usual thrift stores. Like, we just do the same sort of circle every single time we go out, we get coffee. It's a whole day. But there's some new thrift stores that have opened up recently in the past little while that we finally went and checked them out. And the first time I went in, I found, I think it's 18 out of the Shivers series for next to nothing. I believe these were about $1.50 each. So really great find. They're in awesome condition, and as of right now, I don't think I have any in the Shivers series. So this was great. So I'll go through these very quickly. We have number 1, The Enchanted Attic, and just look at the cover on this. I love this spooky little doll, so anything to do with like creepy kids, creepy dolls, you guys know that I love. So that's that one. Number 2, A Ghastly Shade of Green. Number 3, Ghost Writer, and I love that like every single one is kind of like Goosebumps, you know, it has like different colorways and stuff. Like this green, I don't think it's picking it up, but this is like a super bright lime green, and of course purple is my favorite color. We have number 4, The Animal Rebellion. Number 5, The Locked Room, and I love the artwork on this one as well. Very cool. Number 6, The Haunted House, which you guys know is going to be up my alley. Number 7, The Awful Apple Orchard. Number 8, Terror on Troll Mountain. Number 9, The Mystic Spell. Number 10, The Curse of the New Kid. Number 11, Guess Who's Coming for Dinner. Have you guys read any out of the Shivers series? Let me know. I've never actually read any of them, and of course I was grown out of that time period by the time these came around, so I was super excited to find these. Number 12, The Secret of Fern Island. This looks like something that would be really cool to throw in for like summer reads. Number 21, A Walking Nightmare. Number 24, The Ghosts of Devil's Marsh. This is another one. I love this artwork here. Very cool. Number 27, Camp Fear. So this is another one that would be good to throw in for summer reads. Number 31, Shriek Home Chicago. Number 33, The Forgotten Farmhouse, and it has like this skeletal horse on the front. And number 34, Weirdo Waldo's Wax Museum. And I think this one is actually a misprint because look at how close the font comes to the edge of the page there. But still, super creepy cover. So there you go. That was 18 out of the Shivers series for next to nothing. They're in super, super great condition, you know, for the sake of 20 bucks for a whole stack of books. It's pretty good. So I was super, super excited to find these. And of course, I'm going to get everything cataloged into my bookshelf app and then up on the shelf. Okay, and then for the next stack of sort of that middle grade sphere, I found 2 out of the Creepers series, and this is another one. I don't think I have anything out of this. Over 4 million copies sold worldwide. Edgar J. Hyde wrote this series. So we have number 2. This is Stage Fright, and the covers are pretty dark, but very, very cool covers on these. Like I said, another series I've never read. And this is number 7, The Scarecrow, which looks very ominous as well. And then just yesterday, I was super excited to find this one. It's another Phyllis Reynolds Naylor. And I have a few of these like witch books of hers. So this is Witchweed, which is kind of a funny title, but very, very cool. So I think I have 2, possibly 3 of these kind of books by this author. Haven't read any yet, but I know they were super popular back in the day. And then this is another one I found yesterday as well. And even Matthew was super excited about the cover of this one. Just look at this. So super cool. So this is Return to Ghost Hotel by Larry Weinberg. You'll never forget your stay at this hotel. So this is about like a young girl who goes back to like the 1850s and has to solve a mystery. But just the look of the old Victorian home, it has spooky trees, it's pinky purple, it has spooky font, and a big old skull right in the center over the house. I mean, this is all I needed to know about this book. You know, it was like $1.79. So super excited about this one. Try to keep everything over here. It took me a while to try to organize all these books, and I've been de-stickering forever. The good thing about the new thrift store that I've been going to is they just have a sign up, and like all, you know, children's paperbacks are the same price, all adult are the same price, all hardcovers are the same price. So they don't put like stickers on the back, which has been great because, you know, I'm just constantly de-stickering, and this was a lot of work. So I finally got it all done last night. So next we have Bruce Colville's Book of Nightmares, More Tales to Make You Scream, Volume 2. So I do have the first one in this series, so I was super, super excited to find this one, and it's in great condition as well. I have, how many more apples do I have here? Let's put all the apple books together. There we go. So whenever I see an apple children's paperback with this sort of border with the triangle and the apple sitting on top, like it just reminds me so much of my childhood and brings me right back to my elementary school library. So we do have a Betty Wren Wright. This is The Ghosts of Mercy Manor. What is the ghost trying to tell her? And I've been very much in a ghosty book kind of mood. I've been saying that for a while, but this month I'm actually doing vampires. But I do want to have like a ghosty month coming up here, where, you know, it's lots of Betty Wren Wright and Mary Downing Hahn and maybe some nonfiction and stuff like that. So we also have this one, Nothing But Trouble, Trouble, Trouble by Patricia Hermes. In Big Trouble Again. So again, another Apple paperback. And this one, I love the look of this, and I'm totally going to be reading it during the Halloween season. So this is The Jack-o'-lantern That Ate My Brother. Awesome trick, nasty treat. So I got this one for the kind of children / middle grade shelf. This is more along the lines of children's books. But you know, just the whole Halloween theme, it just looped me right in there, of course. And then we have, so I do have a lot of the Alan Zulo books. You know, they have like the haunted schools, haunted teachers, stuff like that, haunted pets. So this is Spooky Kids, Strange But True Tales by Bruce Nash and Alan Zulo. So this is one I don't have. So I was super excited to grab this as a troll book. So I will put this with the other kind of Alan Zulo type books. Then I have another Joel A. Sutherland, and this is Night of the Living Dolls. So I have a few of his books with this kind of, within this haunted sort of series. I can't remember the other ones, but the covers are always super cool. Like this creepy doll is very cool, and just, you know, that blue kind of hue with the the trees and everything in the background. So yet another creepy doll book. And then along the lines of middle grade kind of girls series, which you guys know that I collect, we found, and these are really, really hard to find in the wild. I usually have to get them like off Etsy or eBay. This is in the Friends Forever series. This is number 11. Best wishes, whoever you are. So the Friends Forever. And I learned of this series, I think, through Paperback Crush when I read it a couple of years ago. So I started collecting these. And then we have 2 out of the Girl Talk series. Now, Girl Talk was a game back in the 80s. I used to play it a lot, and then they came out with like a book series. So we have number 13, The Winning Team. So we have like a nerdy kind of girl and like a, you know, a popular girl. And then we have number 16, Here Comes the Bride. And just look at these like poofy taffeta dresses. Absolutely excellent. So super excited for 2 more for the Girl Talk series. A lot of them that I find out in the wild are like lower in the series. They seem to be more readily available, so I was happy to find a couple that I don't own already. So I'm gonna get rid of these ones and I'll bring up the next stack. Okay, so getting into more of the YA sphere of books. So I found a whole bunch in series or by authors that I already collect, and then a whole bunch more, like I said, that I don't currently collect, but new collections that I'm now starting, so I'll keep an eye out for these. So first is Lurley McDaniel. So these will go in my romance section, which is vastly growing, surprisingly enough. So if you don't already know, I used to read some of Lurley McDaniel's books when I was a teenager. They're very melodramatic. They're very like over the top. And somebody is always dying. So somebody's always in the hospital or has cancer or falling in love or whatever like that. So very, very, very cheesy. And my Lurley McDaniel collection is starting to get fairly vast now too. So super excited for these. So we have 5 more for the Lurley McDaniel shelf. So we have A Rose for Melinda. So this looks to be like dance themed. Like I said, somebody's always dying. Baby Alicia is dying. Somewhere Between Life and Death. This is hilarious. The Girl Death Left Behind. And this one is part of a mini-series by this author. The Dawn Rochelle series, book 4 by Lurley McDaniel. No Time to Cry. And I love the purple on the cover here. So like I said, very, very melodramatic. It's very over the top, very cheesy, and someone is always dying. So 5 more to put on the Lurley McDaniel shelf. And then some out of, you know, my main series that I collect. I did find a couple of Sweet Valley books. So we have Sweet Valley High number 95, The Morning After. And these 2 that I found are not in great condition, but the higher numbers are so hard to find that I went ahead and grabbed them, and I can always replace them. This one's not too bad. But this one here, this is number 139, Elizabeth Is Mine. And this one is, you know, it's kind of bent. There's a bit of a chunk taken out of the cover. But I can't even remember now how far up my numbers go, but it's very rare for me to find ones in like up in the hundreds when I'm out. So I went ahead and grabbed it, like I said, for the sake of like $1.79, and I can replace it if I find a new one. And then out of the Babysitters Club series, sorry, just do a little bit of reorganization here. So we have number 17, Marianne's Bad Luck Mystery. And what I'm trying to do is, where I can, get the original covers, because there are a couple of re-releases that have alternate covers, and I want all of mine to match the ones that I had when I was growing up. So we have this one. Then we have number 53, Christy for President. She can run the BSc, but can Christy handle the whole 8th grade? So this is, like I said, number 53. Then we have 2 out of the BSc mysteries. So this is mystery number 7, Dawn and the Disappearing Dogs. Dawn's going to catch that mean old pet nabber. And then we have mystery number 11, Claudia and the Mystery at the Museum. And then this one is, I've never seen one of these before, so I was super, super excited to find it. And it's in, you know, fairly good condition. Some of the ones that you find out there, like ones that I need for my collection, and they're all warped with like water damage and stuff. But I was so excited to find this. So this is Super Special number 14, BSC in the USA. And it has this like kind of shiny stars kind of in the background here. I'm hoping you can see that. I'm hoping it shows up. But I've never seen one with this kind of background. I don't know if this was one that they just did for kind of like Independence Day or something like that. I don't know if there's other ones like this that have like these star kind of backgrounds. I need to check into that, but it says, "Get ready, America. Here come the babysitters." So I'm definitely going to keep an eye out and have a look as well. So July 1997. So obviously it was released probably for July the 4th. So very, very cool. I was very excited to find this one and super excited to put it up on the shelf because I believe it's probably going to be the only one with a gray or silvery cover. And then I did find a bunch of point books. So most of these are within the point fantasy sphere, and there's also some standalone fantasies as well. So this is a point fantasy by Meredith Ann Pierce, Birth of the Firebringer. He would bring sorrow, peace, hardship, joy, or fire. And this one has a unicorn on the front of it here. Let's just see. I think I found this one yesterday. When we were out. 1985. So it definitely looks like it's from 1985, but I have to say, considering its age, it's actually in pretty good condition. And then we have, so this is just like a point kind of drama, I guess you would call it. Nell's Quilt by Susan Terrace. Nell doesn't want to marry. She'd rather let her life slip away. So very melodramatic. There are some point books that are super dramatic, and I have a couple of them. Not as much as I have like within the point horror or fantasy, but some of them are very dramatic and very sad. This one, just kind of a contemporary point book, The Stepfather Game. She wants to marry him. So, and this is by Nora McClintock, who's a really popular author within kind of that point horror kind of sphere. So obviously you have teenage girls who their mom is remarrying and they don't like their stepfather, you know, yada yada kind of thing. But very, very cool, very cheesy cover. And it's in fairly good condition. The edges of the pages are yellowed, but it's still very tight. The spine is tight. There's no kind of creases or anything. So I was super excited to find that one. And then some kind of standalone sort of fantasy books. This one here, Ascending of Dragons. If you don't know, like outside of spooky books and kind of like stuff like that, when it comes to fantasy, I love anything to do with dragons. I actually went to a witch's kind of market yesterday, and I got a mystery box that had candles in it, and there was a little dragon candle, and it just made my heart so happy. So this is Ascending of Dragons by Jane Yolen. So I haven't heard of this author before. It says Magic Carpet Books, which is something else I haven't heard of before, so let me know if this is familiar to you. And then this one. So I already own this book. However, I do have an alternate cover, and I love the cover on this. So I don't know if this is like a UK release cover. So this is Circle of Magic. This is book 2 in the Circle of Magic series by Tamara Pierce, Triss's book. And I have one that has like a purple cover, and it's a very like cartoonish kind of drawing. But this one, I love this. Like she's just standing on the top of this tower and basically like summoning lightning, and it looks like there's like a war going on here where there's ships coming into port. So I was very, very excited for this. And you can see the covers on the back too for this particular release. And I really like these covers more so than the ones that I have. So if I have both, sometimes I want to do that too, where I have the same books but just alternate covers, you know, US release versus UK release kind of thing. But I was really drawn to this, so like I said, for, you know, the sake of a couple of bucks, I went ahead and bought it. So keeping with the same kind of like YA, I did find 2 Lois Duncan. Now these are 2 different like versions of covers. My Lois Duncan collection is kind of all over the place. They're all vintage, but I have kind of like a mishmash of different covers. So we have The Third Eye, and this one, Down a Dark Hall at Blackwood School for Girls, The Private Lessons Might Kill You. So that's 2 for Lois Duncan. And then another series that I don't see out a whole lot in the wild, I usually have to get them online, is The Girls of Canby Hall. So another sort of YA girls contemporary sort of series. So this is number 3, You're No Friend of Mine by Emily Chase. And number 5 in the Girls of Canby Hall series, Summer Blues. So something else I could probably stick in for my summer reads. I haven't read any of the Girls of Canby Hall series yet. I have maybe 6 or 7 in the series right now. Like I said, they're really, really hard to find. And then the rest of these are either standalones or series that I am now kind of starting and adding to my collection. So this one is one that I hadn't heard of before, and it looks super cheesy. So this is the Maryvale Mall series. This is book number 1, which is always really awesome, but kind of rare to find book number 1 in the series for your very first one. So this is 2 for 1, and by Jenna Ellis. So of course we have the kind of cheesy Sears catalog sort of model clothes here. So yeah, the Maryvale Mall series. I don't know how big this series is, but this book was in really, really good condition. I mean, these are, oh, this came from a school, it looks like. 1989, so I mean, that looks pretty good for 1989. It looks like it was never ever read. And then this one, this is Extreme Zone, book number 1. So another series where I found the first book. This is Night Terrors by M.C. Sumner, where your nightmares become reality. So another series I'd never heard of before, and I've never seen on anybody else's channel either. So let me know if you collect these or if you've read them as a kid. This one is brand new to me. So it looks like Extreme Zone number 1 is Night Terrors, number 2 Dark Lies, number 3 Unseen Powers, and number 4 Deadly Secrets. So it looks like a 4 series or 4 book series from 1997. A couple of standalones here from familiar authors. So we have a Richie Tankersley Cusick, The House Next Door, A Timeless Love, and A Terrible Tragedy. So it has this dude here, but you can see the house, kind of the silhouette of the house in the background. Very, very cool. And it just says Haunted House right across the back. So of course, you know, I had to get that. So familiar author, you know, thriller kind of author, but not within the Point Horror series. And then we have a Caroline B. Cooney. This is Time in Any Time, which is a weird kind of title. Intrigue, suspense, romance, evil schemes, innocent victims, and true love. Is it a TV soap opera? Not exactly. So there you guys go. There's a standalone Caroline B. Cooney, not within the Point Horror series. And then this is another standalone here. This is A Scholastic by Cynthia Voigt, Building Blocks, by the Newbery Medal Award winner. So I just grabbed this one just as kind of like part of a contemporary sort of collection. So it says 12-year-old Braun Connell has always thought of his father as a loser, a washed out man who has built a silent, passive wall around himself, a wall that keeps life at a safe distance. So again, very much this sort of sad contemporary kind of book that was very, very popular in the 90s. This one, I love the cover on this. It's so super cheesy. This is by Michael Bedard, A Darker Magic. And just look at this dude. I don't know if he's a vampire, but he has very much that sort of look. And it says, it began innocently enough with the discovery of an old flyer announcing a long-forgotten magic show held on Saturday, August 8th, 1936. But since then, Emily and her teacher, Mrs. Potts, have been drawn into his sinister and frightening shadows from another realm. My goodness, that sounds super cool. So like I said, I don't know if this dude is a vampire, but he very much looks like it. Probably if it's a magic show, he's a magician and not a vampire, but either way, has all the cheese factor. And then these ones were ones that I found yesterday. Series I'd never heard of before. And I love the covers on these. I believe this is a UK series, so for any of my British viewers, please let me know. So this is the Horoscopes series. I can't even find an author on this. So this is the Gemini one. So each book is centered around a sign of the zodiac, and then the story is based around, I guess, the attributes. Very, very cool cover. It's super shiny, and it's embossed as well. I love the purple going to the kind of the reddy pink here. And then down on the bottom, it says sliced apart. So it says on the back, with the moon at its height in your sign, you may need to enlist help of others in forcing an issue with someone close to you. This could lead to confrontation. To avoid surprises, stick to your plans. So it has like a little bit of a horoscope on the back, but when I look at it, it is like it's not a horoscope book. It's an actual story that revolves around the sign. So there were two there. There was Gemini and then Leo, which is towards the end of July into August. Personally, I'm a Cancer. Let's just see here. Okay, so it has also available in this series. So Cancer, the story is called Black Death. So I'll have to keep an eye out for that. And it says from October 1995. So these are in very, very good condition as well. So this one is Blood Ties. So Leo is Blood Ties. Gemini is Sliced Apart, which makes sense because of the twins. So very, very cool. Like I said, just found these yesterday for like $1. So if you know anything about this particular series, please let me know. I love the covers and the stories sound really, really good too. And then onto a couple of books for my Canadian series. So you guys know that I love to collect cheesy Canadian fiction. And I actually found something within the Eric Wilson series. So he writes mysteries. So you have the Tom and Liz Austen mysteries, very much like Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. They all take place in different places around Canada, and it's very much a love letter to wherever the story is taking place. So if it takes place in Ottawa, it talks about certain landmarks, the geography, and you know, all kinds of nice things about that particular area, which is very cool. So apparently Eric Wilson was very, very popular in the 90s, and he completely escaped me. I didn't know about him until like a couple of years ago when I started collecting these. So there is one that I found that I didn't even know they existed, but just for these ones first. So always super exciting when I find Eric Wilson books that I don't already own, because I own a lot of them now. I've only ever read one. It's Vampires in Ottawa. It was super cheesy and super cute. So this one is Summer of Discovery. And I love the look of, you know, just these kids hanging around a campfire. And very much another one that would be interesting to put in my summertime reads. And this one is a Tom Austen mystery. This is Cold Night in Vieux, Quebec. And then this is the one that I didn't even know these existed. So apparently within this series there are bind-ups. So this is one of the bind-ups. This is volume 2. Eric Wilson Canadian Mysteries volume 2. Red River Ransom, The Ghost of Lunenburg Manor, Code Red at the Supermall. So it's 3 books in one. And I own all of these books individually, but I am going to keep an eye out for these bind-ups, because it's the same thing as like the Haunted Canada series. When I found out that there was bind-ups, I already own those stories. I know those stories, but it's always very, very cool to add into the collection. So I was super excited to find that. Very, very cool find for my collection. And then I do have a couple in the Screech Owls series that I don't own. I found this one yesterday. I was super, super excited about it because Matthew and I just earlier in the day, coincidentally, were talking about the Badlands out at Drumheller, which is in Alberta. It's just about 90 minutes or so away from us. And I was like, hey, I haven't been to Drumheller for years and years. We should take a weekend and go out, you know, just for a day trip or whatever. And then I found this one in the Screech Owl series, which is another series you guys know I collect. This is number 10, Danger in Dinosaur Valley. So this takes place in the Badlands in Alberta, and you can see the Badlands in the background here with the hoodoos and the shadow of a dinosaur. So out in Drumheller, we have the Royal Tyrrell Museum, which is a dinosaur museum, and there's archaeological digs and stuff like that that go on out there. Very, very world famous dinosaur dig site. So that's very, very cool that I found that. Super exciting. We have Sudden Death in New York City, number 13 in the Screech Owl series. Haven't actually read any of these yet, but they look super, super cool. They look super cheesy. And then this one, I really love the cover on this. So 3 that I found just yesterday that I didn't have for my series. Super exciting. So this is number 14, Horror on River Road. And you have this young dude here. Hopefully you can see that. And in the background it has a cemetery, and there's like a green light coming out from behind one of the headstones. So anything, you guys know, anything with a cemetery and spooky trees and everything on the cover is very cool. I'm not sure where this takes place. I looked at it. I think it might be Ottawa. I'm not sure. If you guys know where River Road is and you're Canadian, please let me know. But I do want to get to the Screech Owl series at some point because they look super cute. And you know, just with everything going on like in the world right now, and I have a super stressful job, most of us do, reading books like this can be a real palate cleanser, and it's just fun and it makes you smile and whatever helps your dopamine flow. So I might pick up at least one in the Screech Owl series for the summer. Then we have one out of the Left Behind the Kids series. So I have a couple in this series. Now, when I was at the thrift store yesterday, just a little bit of a over-caffeinated gremlin rant. The normal thrift stores that Matthew and I go to, we're getting fed up with them. Like, there's no way that I'm paying $4.99 for a used paperback that's not in great condition. Like, they've jacked up their prices. It's ridiculous. You try to make a deal with them, they won't do it. Whatever. They've got like all this new software in, so you can't, like, usually if you go up to the cash, like they would be like, okay, well, just scan one of the other books. Because I'm like, why is this book and this book $2 difference, you know? And they would just give it to you for the lower price. But their prices are getting outrageous, like even on clothing and stuff like that now. And they had about 9 in this particular series that I needed for my collection, and I was like, I can't afford to get these 9 books from the thrift store because of the price on them. It's ridiculous. This is why we're kind of making a switch to this different thrift store chain. Anyway, that's my rant. But I did find this one in the Left Behind series, The Search for Secret Documents. This one is book number 11, Into the Storm. So this one is, I think this is like a Christian kind of thriller series, just by reading some of the synopses on the back of the book. So I might pick up one of these eventually. I think I have number 1 in the series, but anyway, this is book number 11, and I left the rest of them there for now. Couple other well-known Canadian authors. So we have a Standalone by Kit Pearson, Awake and Dreaming. So she is an author I used to read a lot as a kid. She's very much celebrated within schools. You know, she wins a lot of awards, that sort of thing. I have an Eric Walters who writes kind of sci-fi thriller Canadian books. I haven't read any of the ones that I have, but I have started collecting this particular author. This is We All Fall Down. So there's another one, there's a series that I collect from him, like the Camp X series, where like these kids stumble across like a secret government operation that has to do with like UFOs and stuff like that. So I have another one for the Eric Walters collection. And then of course, you guys all know that I love collecting L.M. Montgomery. So this is Against the Odds, Tales of Achievement, 18 newly discovered stories by the author of Anne of Green Gables, which I did watch Anne of Green Gables, the sequel, last weekend. I needed something comfy cozy, and it was raining, and I had a fire in, and it was fantastic, and just, you know, all of the cheesiness and all of the good, warm, fuzzy feels. So next, getting into this stack, I did find a whole bunch for my movie and show novelization shelf, which is super exciting. So I found an X-Files novelization. This is the X-Files Ground Zero. And this was written by Kevin J. Anderson. I do have some of the, or I did have some of the X-Files books. They're really thin ones, and there's like a whole, they're actually a numbered series. I believe this was probably a standalone, but there's also other ones, and I ended up giving them to my friend because at the time I wasn't really collecting novelizations, but if I find them again, I will grab them. This one is super exciting. This is another Grail for my collection. So there's a few very exciting books. There's a few very exciting Grails that I found. So this is a novelization of a story from Degrassi Junior High. This is Exit Stage Left by William Pasnak. So you can see the original cast here from the Degrassi Junior High show. And very, very, very cool. You know, you have Caitlin, Joey Wheels, Stephanie, just they're all there. So LD is there. And it says, based on the popular TV series Degrassi Junior High. When did this come out? It's in very, very good condition. 1987. And I was and still am a huge Degrassi fan. I've watched all of the different spin-offs multiple times, and I will have an undying love for it. So I will definitely keep an eye out for more of the novelizations. Then this is very cool. So I have a novelization of Karate Kid and Karate Kid Part 2, and they're both point books, which is awesome. So these do have some of the, do they? And this one does say it has 8 pages of movie photos. It mustn't be colored photos. You know, sometimes they have those inserts and they're like glossy pages within it. But anyway, I thought this was very, very cool because not only do I collect movie and show novelizations, especially from the 80s and 90s, but I love collecting point books, especially with this line with this particular font across the top. So it was kind of 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. I did find a novelization. This was one I got yesterday as well for the Goosebumps Haunted Halloween movie, which is one that I own, and Matt and I watch it every single year. We love it. We saw it in the theater. Of course, it's not, you know, it's not the same one as the first one with Jack Black, which was my preferred Goosebumps iteration when it comes to films, but this one is still pretty cute, and it has Slappy on the front here. And then I found one Lizzie McGuire book, and this one is in fantastic condition. This is actually not a novelization. This is they call it Cinemanga on the front, so it's like a comic book variety of one of the novelizations. And I do have a couple of Lizzie McGuire novelizations, so I thought this one would be great to put in with it. And then I found 3 in the Twitches series. I believe I own 2 books in the Twitches series so far. So this is number 1, Twitches, The Power of 2. Very 90s looking. Love it. And then I found these 2 just yesterday. Number 3 in the Twitches series, Seeing is Deceiving. And I love the Twitches movies as well. And then I found number 10. This is Destiny's Twins, and I love the cover on this one. Very cool. So there you go. Lots more for the movie and show novelization shelf. I was super excited to find those point books that were the Karate Kid and Karate Kid Part 2. Those are definitely like priority books to have as part of my collection. I was really super excited. And I didn't find them together, which is very cool. I found Part 2 one week, and then the very next week I went back to the same, a different location, but the same chain of thrift stores, and found Part 1. So I don't know if they were donated and it ended up getting split up or what, but I was super excited to find both. Okay, 2 more stocks, guys. We are slowly getting to the end. So I have some adult horror and some ghosty books, which I'm saving for the very last, because you guys know when I find ghosty books that I don't own, I'm super excited. So within the adult horror books, these are all horror, right? Yes. Within the adult horror books, there is one. So there's one book that's you know, one that I've been looking for my collection. And there's another one that is an absolute grail, and I was so super excited to find it. I found it yesterday. So first of all, I do have another Michael Slade. This is Cutthroat, the hunt for a savage serial killer in a thriller that embraces man's darkest fears. So I have a few Michael Slade now, and I haven't read any of him, and people keep telling me to read him. So I do need to pick up one sometime soon. We have, well, I don't know if this is really within the horror sphere, more along the line of fantasy. So this is my very first Mercedes Lackey book. This is Children of the Night, and it's a Tor book. It says Gypsies, Vampires, and Witchcraft, a Deadly Combination. So my very first Mercedes Lackey. It's in pretty good condition. It's a little bit banged up on the back, but super excited to find that. Then I don't own a whole lot of V.C. Andrews. I think I have like maybe one or two. So I was super excited to find this one, especially because of the step back cover. This is Fallen Hearts. So we have the image on the front and then the family image on the inside. So very, very cool. Usually when I find V.C. Andrews at the thrift stores, they're really not in good condition. They're all creased up, you know, the spine is falling off. You can't really even read what it says. So this is the best one that I found, so I went ahead and grabbed it. Very excited about this book. Very, very cool. This is the Mammoth Book of Vampires, and like I said, I'm kind of on a vampire kick lately, so I was super excited to find this. So it says Spine-Chilling Stories of the Undead by, and then it lists a whole bunch of authors, Clive Barker, Robert Bloch, Ramsey Campbell, a whole bunch. And most of these are stories that I haven't heard of before. So these are fictional stories that have been compiled and edited by Stephen Jones. Very good condition on this one, and I love the cover, so I definitely wanted to put this in with my vampire collection. And then these last two, so I'll show you this one first. So you guys know that I am collecting Anne Rice hardcovers, and again with the thrift store that I've been going to, it used to be like $4.99 to $5.99 for an adult hardcover. Now it's upwards of $9 to $10, and I'm like, I'm not paying $9 to $10 for a used book. That's ridiculous at a thrift store. Like if I was supporting somebody on eBay or it was super rare or whatever, that's a different story. But I did find this one that had a bit of a lower price on it, so I went ahead and picked it up. Of course, part of the Vampire Chronicles, Prince Lestat by Anne Rice. So pretty good condition. There's a little bit of dings on the top and everything, but it was definitely good enough for me to pick up and put in my collection. And this is the Grail find. So Stephen King hardcovers are definitely something that I want to have as part of my collection. I'm not even a huge King fan, but a lot of the classic King stories that are super popular, you know, Carrie, Christine, stuff like that, It, you know, those ones are definitely ones that I want to have as part of my collection. And I found this one yesterday for $2, and I was so super excited. So this is a hardcover copy of Pet Sematary by Stephen King, and it is in fantastic condition. It's an original from 1983. It doesn't have like editions listed. It doesn't have, you know, the multiple copyright dates or anything like that. It just says copyright 1983 Stephen King. That's it. Doesn't say anything else. So I was very, very super excited to find this. I know it's kind of one of those originals. And what makes it even better is that the edges of the pages are slightly yellowed, but you can tell that this was well loved. The paper has that sort of velvety kind of feel, and it's in really, really great condition. This, like I said, was a Grail find from yesterday. I grabbed it immediately as soon as I saw it because I knew if there was any other book collectors around, it was going to be grabbed up like right away. And it was $2. And you know, that just makes it all the much more of a treasure because I didn't spend out the butt for it. So it's going to have a very honored place in my Stephen King collection. I'm so, so excited about this book. Okay, last stack. So I did find some from my Ghosty collection, which does include one I believe, from the Ghost House series. It's getting really hard to find Ghost House series books that I don't already own, especially if they're from other places, like not within Western Canada. So very cool that I found these ones. So first of all, this is, it's called a take-along book. So this would be something that a kid would take to like a sleepover or camp out or whatever. So this is Spooky Campfire Stories. So this is fictional ghost stories. You know, it has like Edgar Allan Poe in there, Alvin Schwartz, and so on. But super cute. You know, you've got these kids around a campfire. And like I said, this is one that's meant to be sort of pocket size that you would take like on a sleepover and read stories from. Very cool. Out of the Ghost House series, this is one that I didn't even know existed. So I have Campfire Ghost Stories, and then there's another volume of Campfire Ghost Stories, Volume 1 and Volume 2, but then this one is Campfire Ghost Stories, The Haunting Tales, and very cool cover, with the skull coming out of the fire, of course, by Gordy Telfer, and this is number 81 in the collection. So like I said, as you get higher in the collections, it's really hard to start finding those. And in great condition, it's still super shiny. There's no dings or bends or, you know, folded pages or anything like that. I was super excited to find this book. And then on the same day that I found these, so somebody obviously offloaded all of their Ghosty books. So there was also this one that I was super excited about. This is Haunted Asylums, Prisons, and Sanatoriums Inside Abandoned Institutions for the Crazy, Criminal, and Quarantined. So very cool find. Again, in great condition. This is not a vintage book, it's more modern, but definitely one that I needed for my collection. Then this one by Jeff Bellinger, The World's Most Haunted Places from the Secret Files of ghostvillage.com. So I'm going to have to check out that website as well. So one that I also don't own. And then this one was super exciting. So this is a book by Annie Wilder, Spirits Out of Time, True Family Ghost Stories and Weird Paranormal Experiences. Also in great condition, and I love the old creepy family photo on the front here. So when I first saw it, I was like, Spirits Out of Time, because sometimes like it has like ghosty sort of titles, but it has nothing to do with like nonfiction ghost stories. So I was super excited to find this. And it says on the back, One Family's Haunting True Stories. So my family could definitely write a book like this too. So very cool. I was so super excited to find this. And I have to tell you, my ghosty shelf massively needs some reorganization because I've been finding so many ghosty books this year, which is fantastic, that it needs to be reorganized and needs a little bit more room up there for my nonfiction ghost stories. So there you guys go. That was 92 new books to add to the shelves. They've all been de-stickered. I haven't cataloged them yet. That needs to be done. And then I need to find space. So the library is going to be ripped down very soon. So I'm not even going to bother to put these up and try to find space for them and reorganize, like, you know, how my series go, because we are going to be painting in here. So the shelves are going to be dismantled. I'm buying additional shelves. I'm moving things around down here in my space. So as soon as the library is put back together, I will have these, you know, all reorganized and they'll have their home. But for now, I'm just going to set these aside, and I will take you guys along in some vlogs over the next little while, the next couple of months. We're taking our time. We're not going to rush anything to redo the library. So there you guys go. That's everything I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a question or comment down below, because you know I love chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky, everybody. Bye.